Appreciate everybody being here. This is, again, another exciting week for us. Play an in-state team in Memphis, who I think is a much improved team over last year. They're playing really well right now on both sides of the ball. They went to UCLA a week ago when UCLA was 11th in the country, and they're driving towards the end of the game to tie it up and send it to overtime or possibly win it. So this is a really good football team. Their quarterback is doing a nice job distributing the ball to their players. They've got some really good wide receivers now that can stretch the field vertically as well as horizontally. So they've got a good offense. Their offensive line is seasoned. They've played a bunch of snaps now. On defense, we struggled last year against them. We only rushed the ball for 60 yards. It's a close ball game. We drive down there to kick a field goal with a minute left to go ahead, and then we hang on in the last minute of the game to win it 17-15. So this will be another four-quarter game. It'll be a battle, another battle. It'll be a dogfight that goes down to the wire, and that's the way these last couple games against them have gone anyway. So we're preparing and expecting a difficult challenge here. Again, I think Coach Fuente has done a nice job. He's really turning that program around and got the guys playing hard. And we've got to go down there again and play smart. I thought we did a good job protecting the ball last week against Western. But we've got to improve on some mistakes that we made. Like I'll say every week that we come in here, we get ready for Memphis this week. So it's a great challenge that we're looking forward to. And it's an opportunity, like I said, to play an in-state team and compete against a team from an out-of-conference, and just see how we stack up against them.
Coach, how much, especially in the manner that you guys did it last week, how much did the win over West Kentucky help build the team's confidence?
Anytime you win, David, I think it builds confidence, especially when you win close games. Close games reveal a lot about your character. They reveal a lot about the fight, the effort, and the toughness that you're going to play with, both mentally and physically, and I thought that our team did that. But I felt like we were confident going in. But when you come off a loss, your confidence is rattled a little bit. But I thought our guys really battled and competed, and they should come off that field from Saturday's game and how we practiced yesterday with a lot of confidence in themselves, knowing that if we clean up a few areas, we can play a lot better than what we did.
Another rivalry game last week, of course, or this week. I know you kind of touched on this earlier, but what does the Memphis rivalry mean not only for you guys and also the program?
I love the game. I've loved it since we played it, and I'm not saying it because we've had so much success against them. I think it's a natural game. It's two teams that are separated by 3.5 hours. We're in different conferences, so it's a chance to to compete from that standpoint. I love the game. In-state, we don't get to play that many in-state teams, so I just think it's a natural game. I love it, and I love competing against Memphis. Our players love competing against Memphis, and I think I wish we could continue to play it, but it looks like this is the last round.
Coach, I didn't have a chance to talk to you after the game, deadline stuff on Saturday. What's the middle locker room right now after that big win on Saturday night?
We're focused on Memphis. I told them yesterday when we met that we'll correct our mistakes from the Western game, and we'll get focused on Memphis. And we beat Western Kentucky. We feel good about it, but that ain't going to get us any points or stop any points on Saturday against Memphis. So our focus at locker room is 100% focus on Memphis.
A big emotional win like that, how do you harness that emotion for another rivalry and avoid a letdown?
We won't let down. I can promise you that. If Memphis beats us, it ain't going to be because of any Western Kentucky hangover. It's not how we do business around here. It's not our culture. So I'm not worried about that in the least bit. But we talked about it. It's time to move on. It's part of being mentally tough. I talk about mental toughness as much as I talk about physical toughness, and you got to be able to, put all these pats on the back that they're going to get going to class today. Take it with a grain of salt, and it ain't going to do you any good. Let's focus on Memphis and get ready to play them because that's the number one most important thing right now.
I thought it was Austin's maybe best game in a middle uniform since he's been here on Saturday night. Can you assess his play? I know coming into camp you said it was a quarterback battle. Has he done enough now to solidify that starting spot, maybe if he makes a mistake or two now where you have the confidence in him to stick with it moving forward?
Austin's made a mistake or two already in these first 3 games, and I haven't pulled him. And I told him that, and I told you guys that I want him looking over his shoulder. I want all our players looking over their shoulder a little bit to know that because I love competition, and I love for our wide receiver, our second team wide receiver to try to beat out the first team wide receiver. So that's not going to change. But I thought Austin played a good game. I thought the best thing he did was protect the football. He didn't put it in harm's way. And at the end of the day, they had 1 turnover that led to 7 points for us, and we didn't have any turnovers. And in games like that where you're 2 really evenly matched good football teams, turnovers have a tendency to stand out and make the difference in the game. And there was a lot of turning points in that game, but one of them was their interception that Duval made that got us back in it tied at halftime. But Austin did a nice job, made some plays with his feet, both running and buying some time to extend plays in the passing game. But I'm not going to sit here and tell anybody that you're the starter for the rest of the way out at any position. I'll never do that. So, but he did a nice job. I'm proud of him. He's earned the right to start this week, and I'm not trying to, make this isn't a big deal. It's no different than what it was a month ago or yesterday.
Coach Tommy West, has a affinity, I guess, for Memphis. Been there, was their head coach. I know it may not have much of an effect on you, but have you talked to him at all about it? Does this have a little special meaning for him this week, or, how do you expect how is he, going against a place where he coached?
To me, he's been gone from there so long, and he's been at other places now. This isn't the first time that Tommy's gone back and played Memphis. He played him when he was at UAB. After Memphis, he played him at Southern Miss when he was at Southern Miss, which was after Memphis also. But again, Tommy's been in this business a long time. He's a dang good football coach. He's mature. To go back, he wants to win this game for Middle Tennessee, not any revenge or anything, out of Memphis, towards Memphis. So we're not even going to, go down that route.
You mentioned their quarterback. He's huge, 6'7", 230, I think they list him at. What specific problems does his size present your defense, and how will you attack him on Saturday night?
Well, Will, we played him last year, so we know a little bit about him. He's not, he's a good enough, he's a better athlete than what you think. He can get the 3, 4, 5 yard runs. We've got to do a good job of, containing him and keeping him in the pocket where he doesn't get outside and, pick up some, first downs that way or extend plays. So, but, we've played big quarterbacks before. We played one at Minnesota a couple weeks ago. But he's a really good quarterback. He's really improved. Like I said, Coach Fuente's done a nice job, with their whole team, but, specifically with their offense. They're much improved from last year. But he's accurate with the ball. He can make all the throws. He gets the ball out quick, and I said that about Western Kentucky. It's going to be hard, to get to him, but when we do, we've got to get back there enough to make them uncomfortable, to get them off their spot a little bit.
Last one, Coach. A few injuries I noticed on Saturday night. Adam Stickle, what's his? I got a couple guys I'll ask you about, but him first. What's his status?
He's been hurt. He finished the game. Hopefully he'll be able to play this week.
And then Kahari Burke, I know he went down there right at the end of regulation. Did he ever? I didn't even notice if he came back.
He came back, yeah. He missed a couple plays there.
And Sharp, too?
Sharp, played his first game. He went out. You see they're going that way. He went out midway through the third quarter. He didn't practice yesterday, so he'd be questionable, I guess. Anybody else? I was going to say, you had, as fast as you were coming around that corner, you have to ask at least one question.
You saw me, huh?
I heard about you.
Were the wheels screeching? Anyway, you talked about the series with Memphis and a lot of close games, and then you're coming off the close, dramatic victory on Saturday. How are you with close games? Do you like being involved in close games, or would you rather have them all be 35-point wins for the Blue Raiders?
I'd rather them all be 35-point win games for us. But it usually doesn't work out that way. But, we've had a bunch of close games since I've been here. And, I like I said earlier, I love the tough games from the standpoint, or close games from a standpoint, because you find out so much about your team. And just how they compete, how hard they play, how hard they finish plays, drives, games. Their competitive spirit is shown, their toughness, both mentally and physically, is shown. So I love it from that standpoint. I love celebrating in the locker room after close wins like we've had, or like we had last week. So those are fun. Those are memorable moments that, as a coach, as a player, you'll never forget. We had a bunch of them last year. We've had one so far this year, but I like him from a standpoint of just you find out a lot about your team.
And I know Dowdy's a pretty special quarterback. He threw for a lot of yards against you. How much of a concern is that going forward, the pass defense? Is it just a matter of, hey, this was a good quarterback, I'm not worried about it down the road, or are there areas in that?
No, you're right. We got to get some things fixed. But I want to give him credit and Western Kentucky credit. And I said it after the game that might be the best offense that I've played against in a very, very long time. And I'm talking about prior to me coming here. They did a great job. They had great tight ends. They had dynamic wide receivers. Their quarterback was excellent. Their running back, was not real fast, but he was big and physical and got tough yards for him. So that was a heck of a challenge our defense faced. And if you look at what our defense did, we gave up a lot of yards, a lot of passing yards. But so did Illinois, so did Bowling Green. But when that game was, there were some critical series in that game. The goal line stand, holding them to a field goal down there at the end of regulation, to force it to field goal, to force them to a field goal that Schubert Bastine blocked, a field goal attempt that Schubert blocked, going in the fourth quarter. I mean, our defense made some really, really good stands and to give us a chance to win that game. So there's some things we got to get, fixed, but you got to give a lot of credit to Western Kentucky and their coaches and their players, because I thought it was a very, very good, explosive offense.
Got a lot, Coach. I got one more. Red zone, 17 for 17 so far on scoring opportunities. I think 13 of them have been touchdowns. Why is that important? And can you put your finger on why you've been able to be, obviously you're playing mistake-free down there in the red zone.
Well, one, why it's important is because, you can't, it's hard to win games by kicking field goals. So you got to score touchdowns when you get down there, because it is so hard to get into the red zone. So that's the obvious why you got to do it. But I thought we were very average to poor last year in the red zone. And we emphasized it a ton. I talked about it to our team. We had different situations throughout the course of August, emphasizing scoring touchdowns in the red zone and not settling for field goals. So, again, it was just something that we've emphasized. I think our players understand now the importance of, that you got to keep the foot on the gas when you get down there, that you can't relax, you can't do anything you can't have penalties that are going to force you into longer down and distance situations where you have to kick a field goal. Our coaches have done a great job in planning and scheming for what we want to do down there, but the bottom line is the players have done a great job. We've had some good runs. Our offensive line has done a great job from a protection standpoint and a running game standpoint. And then our players, our running backs, our quarterbacks have made plays down there. So it's critical. I wish we could say we were 17 out of 17 with touchdowns. But we've just got to continue to make that a focus and continue to we practice it every week and try to continue to improve and get better where we're scoring touchdowns.
Coach, how do you keep the offense going as effective as they have been last week against Western and in previous weeks?
Well, I think we've been pretty consistent offensively. You go back to, we moved the ball and scored well at Savannah State. When we didn't turn the ball over at Minnesota, we moved the ball pretty consistently. This past week, we had some drives where, we had a couple 3-and-outs where we didn't move the ball effectively. But it's just something that's, we've got good players. I want to give the credit to our players because they're doing a good job. But it's just it's a mindset that every time we touch the ball or we get the ball, we want to score. And that's what we're trying to do. That's our objective, is to score every time we touch it. So it's just something we'll continue to drive and push them. You don't ever relax. It's a long season to go. You don't ever get comfortable. You keep an edge about yourself. You keep an edge about your team, that you're constantly trying to improve, and you're constantly trying to prove that you're a good player and you're a good team. And so it's just our mindset and what we're going to do. We're going to practice hard. We're going to practice physical. And then we get to the game. We hope we correct our mistakes from the week before and play better than what we did. And we're always trying to improve. Like I said, we didn't play a perfect game against Western Kentucky. There's a lot of areas where we can improve on. So that's our goal this week in getting ready for Memphis.
How much fun was that on Saturday night?
It's a great game. Anytime you go into triple overtime with anybody, it's fun. And just winning in the way we did on the last play of the game, just really proud of our whole team. Grammer made plays all night long. And Ed, throughout, camp and these last couple of games, has shown a special ability to make a lot of plays for us.
What's the mood of the locker room right now after a big emotional win like that?
We're obviously excited. It gives us a lot of confidence. But like Coach said, it's a week-to-week, job. So we can't hang our hats on that victory, and we won't. We're already preparing for Memphis. We're ready for this game and continue to win every game that we play.
Having said that, like Coach said, you guys are going to get a lot of slaps on the back this week. Everybody's going to be congratulating you. How do you avoid the letdown against a Memphis team that, you guys beat on a last-second field goal last year?
You don't think about it. You play, you practice hard, and you prepare yourself mentally for a tough game because Memphis, no matter what the case is, we beat them last year, and like you said, Coach, we rushed for 67 yards. So it's a tough game, and we got to be ready for it.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about that. You guys are, 250 a game-ish this year. They're giving up about 130 a game, but like you just said, they only gave up 60 last year. What have you seen on film that will allow you guys to do better, Saturday night than you guys did 12 months ago?
Well, just like last year, I feel like we didn't execute as well as we should, And with just the run game, we got to eliminate as many as we can negative plays and have as many positive plays as we can. And I think, the way Austin's playing, I think it'll open it up a lot better for us.
I know you guys and Coach don't really look at this, but the odds makers in Vegas have favored Memphis by 7 in this game, for entertainment purposes only, of course. Do you relish the underdog role? Is that something that you guys talk about in the locker room at all? Is that something that you'll play up, or is it just you got a game, we got to go play?
I think it's just got another game that we got to go play. Just so happens that most of the games that we play here, we are considered the underdog. We relish that role, and we just compete and play as hard as we can every week.
Like last year, more than maybe what you've seen on film of them this year?
They're always really good up front. Their front seven's always really good. They got dynamic players on their defensive line that can make a lot of plays. So, like I said, we just got to work on our execution, work on our fundamentals, and, at the end of the day, I think we'll be okay with it.
Sort of touching on what Will said, how do you guys guard against a hangover?
Like you said, you just prepare mentally. It's I've already forgotten about that game. We got a long season, and you hold your hat on a victory as Virginia Tech did. They beat Ohio State and come out and get beat by ECU. So you can't have a hangover. You got to get ready for the next week.
Coach Stock talked about, hey, these guys can walk around campus and get patted on the back for a little while, but it's now time to focus on Memphis. Have you had any opportunity to walk around campus, and if so, what are fellow students saying to you about that wild game on Saturday?
I haven't really walked around on campus much, but like I said, I'm sure a lot of guys are getting that. We all know how to prepare for it. We've been in this situation before. A couple years we beat Georgia Tech. We got those pats on the back, and we came out and we lost. So we got to just prepare ourselves mentally for a tough game.
I'm going to ask you the same thing I asked Isaiah. What's the mood in the locker room right now after a big win like that?
It's always a positive and excited atmosphere after the win, but like they said, we're already started on Memphis. We started preparing yesterday, and today we're still preparing for them.
You got a big sack on Saturday night. It was a key sack, too, at a moment in the game, inching a little bit closer to that record. Tell me about that play. What did you see? I didn't have a chance to talk to you after the game on Saturday.
Well, our DBs did a great job of covering. He had no place to throw it, so I was able to catch him backside because all our DBs were playing great with coverage that play.
Their quarterback, he's pretty big, 6'7", 230 pounds. What have you seen on film of him? How are you guys going to defend him? What's the biggest challenge you see that he brings to the table on Saturday night?
I would say the biggest challenge would probably be adding an extra hat to the run game because they'll be using their quarterback for running. Stopping him, we're going to take the same approach that we always do. We're going to always make sure we stop the run.
Coach Stock mentioned it. Do you look at this as a rivalry, being an in-state team? You guys are 5-1 against them, in the series record. Is this a little added emphasis on this one since they are, only a couple hours away?
It's always exciting to play another team in state because we don't really get a chance to play many schools in our state. So it does take a lot of pride to take that 3-hour drive and go play them at their place. So yes, I would say that it is sort of a rivalry.